Welcome to the Spring Forward podcast. I'm your host, Spring Richardson Perry, the organizational change agent that is going to help your business achieve the excellence you desire. If you're a business leader looking to take your business to the next level or simply looking for new ways to spring your business forward, then this is the podcast for you. So let's get down to business and spring forward into excellence. Welcome to another episode of the Spring Forward podcast. I'm your host, Spring Richardson Perry, and today we have a fantastic guest with us, Jean-Luc Boissoneault. He is an entrepreneur, an author, and an international speaker. He started with nothing and he built several successful multi-million dollar businesses. He's worked with many small business owners one-on-one, and eventually Jean-Luc discovered a blueprint for helping local small business owners go from putting out fires all day to building a well-oiled machine. And so we know that is the key to success and sustainability in any business. So he calls this blueprint his signature system mastery method. He lays out this blueprint in his book called Time Management for Small Business Owners. So let's welcome Jean-Luc to the show. Welcome,
Welcome,
Jean-Luc.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
How's it going?
Great. I'm super excited to be talking about this subject that I'm so passionate about. It seems dry at first, maybe when you hear of time management, but it's just not dry to me.
No, it's not dry at all because if we don't manage our time efficiently, um, truly you're going to fail at life because even just so much as small something as small as having an appointment, especially for me, I have 4 kids. So if I have an appointment at 9 o'clock in the morning, I got to make sure I get up on time to get them fed, clothed, and off to school, and then make sure that I get out because most times appointments are 45 minutes away from me, and so I have to like make sure everything is in place and know like how much time each thing takes. So it seems dry, but it's really not. And so I'm excited to lift up this point today and really talk about your book and just some things you're talking about in this book, Time Management for Small Business Owners. So to kind of just kick things off, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what it is that you do?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a business coach. I started in the fitness world as a personal trainer when I was 17. I'm now 40. So I've always been a coach. I started building businesses. I've always been around, even when I was a personal trainer, I was training millionaires, billionaires. I trained some billionaires, and just observing them and like how they manage their time was really something, right? Like they had assistants, and it really gave me, as a young guy, just sort of a sponge observing these people and how they're running these successful businesses. And then I went into the stress aspect of things. I went from fitness to health to stress, and I was helping business leaders get less stress. And time and stress, they go together. Deadlines create a lot of stress in your body. So I started doing corporate talks on stress and learning everything. I fell into meditation. Meditation led me to sort of timelessness, like no time, because you're in this oneness. And I started a meditation studio. This could go on, but then eventually reconnecting with my leadership and my fire and going, okay, how do I relate to time now that I've let go of time and come back to time? And you know, one thing that I noticed was that when starting to work with business clients, leaders in all sorts of industries, um, the common thing was when we would start, it was all about time. It's like generally the business owner, the leader is overwhelmed. Like, I have too many things going on. I'm drowning, I'm running around, putting out fires, and it's like, whoa, 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 where do we start, right? So we start with time. We start with you, because to me, I say this all the time, it's that your business is a reflection of you. If your business is chaotic, it's because you're chaotic, right? And if it's sloppy in the way it's running, it's because your own habits are sloppy. And we need to start there. And actually, when we start there, it trickles. It ripples out to all of the organization. And like I'm talking small business owner that's even a solopreneur coach to working, just recently like a leader that has a $20 million business, with 50 plus employees. They're all going through the same thing. It doesn't matter. It's just we end up getting overwhelmed as we take stuff on and we don't know what to prioritize. Like what matters? What should I be doing that's going to move the ball forward? And we get a little mixed up when we're like drowning, you know?
Yeah, time is a constant challenge, and um, I feel I feel a little honored here because when you were saying about how your business is sort of a reflection of you, and we were kind of just talking before we started recording about how organized everything was. I kind of feel like, oh, good. Maybe I'm a little bit more organized than what I thought because I think we are our biggest critics, right? And so what other people and what we see a lot of times is very different, right? It's like I feel like I could be a lot more organized, but then with you just kind of organically telling me that, I was like, oh, okay, well maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. And so talk to me a little bit about what inspired you to write this book, because again, like we said, time is a constant challenge. We are our biggest critics. And so how what inspired you to write this book, and how is it helping businesses, individuals, entrepreneurs? How is it intended to help them?
Yeah, well, yeah, first off, just to say what you're talking about, like the first question I always ask this business owner is, let me see your calendar. Show me your calendar. And that to me is the biggest indicator of the organization of their business. Because if they're not managing their own time, they're not going to be managing and delegating properly and holding people accountable. So I know just in the fact that we, setting up this podcast and how well you were organized with it and the automation that went out and then how you outlined everything so clearly. This tells me so much about you, and it also tells me so much about how you run your business. So like I said, I've done a lot of podcasts and I'm like, wow, I already know that you have a very tight ship, which is great. And when you said how many kids you have, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that makes total sense. um, so I just wanted to say that it is really, it's not, it's a complete reflection. um, yeah, so to answer the question how I got to this and why this became important is simply for the fact that I kept repeating myself. Every new client that would come on with me, that was a leader, it was like, this is where we have to start, right? Because you can't prioritize. So actually the starting point is the vision. Okay, there's three components to it. So I'll give you a framework. It's a triangle. Okay, it's the simplest model I could come up with. It started with 5. It's now deciphered down. It's distilled down to 3. Vision. Okay, because if you don't have a vision, then you don't know how to prioritize. Because what are you prioritizing for if you don't know where you're going? Right. So the more crystal clear the vision is, the more I'm going to be able to know what to place in that time slot that's going to be of highest impact for the organization. Right? So vision is the starting point. If you don't have a clear, crystal clear vision with conviction on where you're going, that's going to have a huge impact on your efficiency. And if you have many employees, that's going to trickle down, and you're going to wonder, why are my employees not working so well? Why is the culture not working? Why are they not so efficient? Why are people leaving? And we can all narrow this down to the vision. Do they know where they're going? Did you show them where you're going? Did you do you remind them on a regular basis where you're going? Do they care about where you're going, and does it impact them if you get there? So much of this, is the issue. So that's the vision. Once that is clear, and that includes building a business that serves your life, not the other way around. Okay, so
Yes.
when I say that, there's a lot of people just building a business, and then have no time for themselves, no time for their family, no time for their health, their hobbies. They're missing the mark.
And that's the point, right, of building a business is so that you don't you're not a slave, I should say, but I hate to use that word, but I can't think of another word to use in this moment to time and to someone else's vision. But then along the way, somehow, somewhere, things get lost, and then you get more stressed out as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, than if you were actually working for someone else. And then sometimes you don't even see the return on your investment in the way that you were expecting to. And so, again, like you're saying, it's super important um, to manage your time, but to have that vision to know where your time should be spent so that you know where you're going and you can clearly get there. Because if you allow things to just sort of happen and come at you, you will get thrown off course. You will be chasing the wrong things and not the things that help you to continue to build that vision out. And you'll get frustrated, and then you'll eventually just be like, you know what, forget it. I don't even want to do this anymore. And you sort of forget why you started this journey in the first place. And so I really love that, the vision, and then building a business that serves you and not the other way around. Because if you build a business and you're serving it's gonna feel like you're constantly spinning your wheels, like you're on this hamster wheel and you can never catch up.
Exactly, exactly. And it's not hard work that wears us down and stresses us out. It's when you're not in your passion. When you're in your passion and you enjoy what you do, like I do, it's not work, it's play. And when you can understand that and um, allow that to be the spearhead, and always tuning into that, like, is this the type of work that's meant for me, or is this something I should delegate to somebody else, I should hire somebody else for? And when I stay in, I call it the fire, when I stay in my fire, no one can compete with me, because I can just play all day. And somebody that's not in their fire, doing it out of effort, can't compete with me. Right? So, and this goes on an organizational level too, um, yeah. So that brings me really to the second point of the triangle, is focus. And focus is about setting boundaries on your time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I love that.
So now we have a vision. We know where we're going. And I mean, to the listeners listening to this, if you actually really take in what I'm saying right now, it has the potential to radically change your life, because we've gotten away from this. And um, to me, when I was 21, I won seventh in the world in bodybuilding. Okay, that takes so much vision and so much focus, and it's the same principles apply from sport to business, because business is a game at the end of the day.
And that's
And
amazing at 17 that you were able to achieve that and have that focus at such a young age.
yeah, for every you're looking at, it's like the Olympics, like you're looking at like 4-year blocks of, like, okay, I got 4 years that I need to every single day show up to work out, every single day watch my nutrition. Working out's one thing. Watching your nutrition for 4 years. Um, that's where the challenge is. But anyways, the focus, okay, the focus is, it means we're channeling all our energy towards a vision, okay? And these days this is very hard because we have this idea of multitasking, like moving and like, and it's very luring to go into different businesses, different services, start different things, because we're not really focused. And every time we do that, there's an old proverb that goes, chase two rabbits, catch none. And 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 I
Yes, I'm guilty of that.
yeah, and it's something that I see a lot, I face a lot with leaders, where they're starting to move to another direction, or they'll start another service, and then I say, how are your, let's see the profitability in each one of these services. And across the board, they're not really doing well, but one, we'll analyze that. And often what I say is, let's cut them all except for one. The one that is the most valuable, the most connected to your heart, the one you believe the most, the one that has the highest profitability, the least amount of headache. Let's focus on that one and channel all energy into that. And that is the lead domino that knocks all the other dominoes down, because without profit, it's shitty. It doesn't feel good, you know, no matter
And what's
what.
the point, right? Without a
What's the
profit, what's the point?
So we get lost. We get lost by going chasing different things. And what I do as a coach is I really try to help them really stay focused. And the focus, if we're to take one tool around focus, right? It's the calendar. The calendar is a right. There's nature, and then there's the world of time. This is how I see it. There's nature that works on rhythms and cycles. And then there's time that was man-made, like invented into tick tock, tick tock. It's not how our biological body works, like nature does. But we impose this thing on culture to be able to connect with each other. Like, hey, let's meet at 3 o'clock. If we go based on nature, they'll be like, okay, around this time when the sun comes, and now we've wasted a lot of time. So we invented this thing for a reason, for our connection. But that portal from nature to time-based reality is the calendar. The calendar is where we start to move, prioritize things into this tool. And now I've gotten to the point where I like to eliminate to-do lists. Like, all we want to do, because a to-do list is putting something on the back burner without a deadline. And so I like to say, no, when you're going to get that done, start using that tool as your only tool. That if you have something to think about, put it at 3 p.m. today. Think about this.
So
Everything.
elaborate on that for me, because I am the queen of to-do lists. And so talk to me about that. When you say you want to eliminate to-do lists, do you mean you want to put, like, you want to have a to-do list but set like a time limit on it, almost like a SMART goal but in smaller chunks? Or
Yeah.
like, explain that.
Yeah, so basically, instead of going to your to-do list, which you're going to now have two tools, right? Chase two rabbits, catch none. You're going to have two tools. You're going to have a to-do list that just piles itself up, and sometimes you never get to those items because they just keep going down, and it's like this, right? It's just not efficient. Like, it's not as efficient as it could be. Instead of taking that item on the to-do list and just going right to your calendar and starting to get used to saying, okay, I'm going to, if I can't deal with this right now, or I can't have the headspace to think about this right now, let's put it in my calendar tomorrow at 3 p.m. for 15 minutes. Boom. And you did this. It took you, slightly a little more time to go to your calendar instead of just jotting it down, but it's more efficient because you know exactly what you're going to do. And in having one place, one tool, it really becomes that portal for you that you really manage everything. Okay, so
Yeah.
So that's on the focus point. It's about boundaries. I could talk about this for so long, because that's also not just your own management of your time, but it's also getting rid of distractions. It's saying no. It's closing the tabs, on Facebook, and closing all these tabs, removing all distractions, and also saying no to people that are trying to infiltrate your mission, trying to take it to trying to distract you from the vision where you're going, right? So you're either on my mission or you're not on my mission, like, help me get there. Anyone that's trying to pull me away, or they're just not part of my mission.
Yeah, I love this. And especially the part where you say take it off of a written to do list and put it on a calendar. Because, for one, I live by my calendar. If it's not on the calendar, then it doesn't exist. And so I've learned, just organically in the way that I work. And I love that you're pointing this out, that I need to schedule myself in blocks. And so if I know specifically I have something that I want to get done, and I know that it's going to take me an hour to do it, then I will put that on my calendar. For 1 hour, I'm going to do this specific thing, so that nothing else can get in the way of me doing that. It is on my calendar. My calendar is going to send me a reminder 10 minutes before I need to do that, to say, hey, this is coming up. So you need to get that done. And then I have that full hour blocked with no distractions, because it's on my calendar, to get that piece of work done. So I really love that you have this. And so we have two things so far from your key concepts here. We have the vision. You got to set the vision, and you have to, like, build your business around your life, right? And so that is your vision. Whatever your vision is, you have to make sure it fits into your life and the way that you want your business to run and your life to run. And then two, we have the focus, where you have to set boundaries and you have to minimize distractions. And so what is your third thing that you focus on in your book, and that you work with individuals, businesses on, in terms of time management? What is that third thing?
Yeah. So just before I go to the third, just to give a physical, like a real life example. Okay, I was working with a business with a leader, and the boundary, the focus for him was just shut your office door. Right? He had this like open door policy. So sometimes it's not the calendar itself, but it's actually the physical interaction with employees. Where he said after 12 weeks with me, he said, the greatest thing we did together is the fact that I shut my office door. It's as simple as that, right? So the third one is commitment. So the base of the of this triangle is commitment. So it goes commitment, focus, vision. That starts at the top. Vision, and then focus, and then you have to commit. And what is commitment? Commitment is doing what is necessary over what feels good. Okay, so that means, like in sport, hey, I don't feel like working out today. I'm not gonna do it. If I start this attitude, and Jocko Willix has a great, really line that stuck with me. Maybe it'll stick with you guys. It's just he says, it's like when that alarm clock goes off in the morning, and you decide to stay in bed instead of getting up, and it's like, that self commitment, but you just, in not getting up, you just eroded it a little more, and now tomorrow's going to be even harder. So commitment is saying, this is where I need to go. So it trickles from the vision. Okay, I'll start. It trickles from the vision. We've now established that you need a crystal clear vision of your life and your business. You need focus. Now that I have a vision, I can prioritize my time. So we prioritize the elements, the skills that I need to be doing in order to get to the vision, right? And now that I've put that in my time, I need to figure out what daily habits do I need to do that is going to get me to my vision. Okay, so we have to
Yeah.
start with the vision and then break down right down to daily actions. Get up at 5
Yes.
a.m. I got to go work out. I got to meditate. I gotta, okay, 6 p.m. I come home. It's family time. I turn this off. The more we can create these boundaries, and then, because we could put it in your calendar, but you have to follow it, right? At the end of the day, if it's just written out and you're not following it, you're giving up on yourself. So you need such strong commitment to these things, and you can only have that strong commitment when you create the vision to be aware of what actually matters to you in your life. What do you actually value?
Yeah, I love that. If you're not dedicated to bringing that vision to life, and you're not focused on it, like minimizing those distractions, like you said, setting those boundaries so that you can bring this vision to life, then again, what's the point? How are you going to achieve that goal if you're not doing those things? And so this makes perfect sense. I love how you've put all this together. And again, guys, those three key takeaways that Jean-Luc was just talking about for time management and building the business that actually fits into your life are: one, you have to set the vision; two, you have to focus, you have to set those boundaries, decrease those distractions; and then three, you have to be committed to carrying it out. And again, like he said, if you start off your morning by just slamming the snooze button on that alarm and you get up later and later and later, where's your commitment? That was kind of me this morning, but hey, we won't tell anybody. That's our little secret.
Gonna be harder tomorrow.
I know. It's just a one-time thing, I promise. Tomorrow I'm gonna be on it. I promise. I'll check in with you and let you know for sure. But I love that, Jean-Luc. I love that. This is all in his book, guys. Again, his book is called Time Management for Small Business Owners by Jean-Luc Boissoneault. And before we wrap it up, one final thing here. This is all in season two about community. And so talk to me about how you're building community, Jean-Luc, whether it's through your business, whether it's in your local community, or whether it's at home with your kids, because community building really starts at home. So talk to me about that.
I love that. I'm here on an island, right? I choose to live my time in the way I want to live it. So I work, 10 hours. I only take on 10 clients. I do 10 hours a week, and I prioritize a lot of my health and fitness and time with family, time with my daughter. Like that's really what matters to me. And again, I'm committed to that. Um, so first and foremost to me, community, like you said, starts at home. So my commitment is to be a great leader, and that's a leader in family, leader in community, leader in my business. Leadership is everything to me. It's everything I need to step into more and more. And I'm not perfect. I need to just keep getting better at it. And in terms of how I serve here on the island, is I teach martial arts with men, and I try to I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu with men twice a week. I do it free. I just do it. I invite everyone to come because I believe that going back to fighting is where we remember these things like boundaries and vision and commitment to ourselves. And it's actually done not from an intellectual speaking sort of thing with other men, but it's done through action. And when we step into our own selves as men, we then get everything I'm talking about, right? Everything I've talked about, this vision, focus, and commitment. It all happens when you decide to show up physically, when it's going to be hard. You're going to be wrestling some other guy. And that's like, damn, we're punching some other guy. It's like that for men is really um, it's going to build commitment in you, and that's how I feel I can contribute the most. It's more of an internal change that ripples outwards, and they can then help their community in their way they can do it.
I love that. And again, guys, Jean-Luc Boissoneault, he is the author of Time Management for Small Business Owners. He just gave you his take on building community, which is what we're all about here in season 2. Thank you so much, Jean-Luc, for being a part of the podcast and coming on and giving us some of your tips today. And again, those 3 things that Jean-Luc talks about in his book for time management are: number 1, setting the vision; number 2, having the focus, which means that you are minimizing those distractions, you're setting those boundaries; and number 3 is commitment, being committed to bringing forth that vision. So thank you so much, Jean-Luc. I really appreciate you being here. Guys, I hope this was insightful for you. I hope you took away some of these nuggets that were shared today. And I hope that it helps you spring forward into excellence. So until next time, guys, see you later. Thanks for listening to the Spring Forward podcast. I hope you were able to capture some of the gems that were dropped and are excited to start using the information to help your business spring forward into excellence. I would love to hear some of your biggest takeaways from this episode, so connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook, or tag me on Instagram at springy_springtime. And don't forget to subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. And if you'd like to learn more about how we can work together, visit the website at time2springforward.org. That's TIMETOSPRINGFORWARD.org. And until next time on the Spring Forward podcast.